I think France has a private air traffic controllers. I mean, it's not like it's strange. The thing of it is, do you want government's inefficiency to do these programs, or do you want another source to do it? So that's a big difference. So I think it's how you want to bring it about. And I think private sources, you take roads. There's nothing in our Constitution that says Texas can't build roads. But Eisenhower, when he built the interstate highway system, he knew that he was on the edge of violating the Constitution. He says, well, we'll justify it because it's necessary for national defense purposes. So there was a respect for this at one time. But now everything, federal government can do everything at all. But there's no prohibitions against government schools. But there is no authority for the federal government to have a Department of Education and mess up our educational system. All they did was give us debt. Here we are graduating kids that don't know what don't know where they're going to get a job. They owe $1 trillion. Their education is poorer than ever, and the costs have skyrocketed. It's a total failure. See, we are witnessing now the failure of 50, 60 years of economic planning. The Keynesian model is a complete flop. And that is why we're getting a lot more attention, because our approach is completely different, and their failure is staring them in the face, and they have a long way to go to clean up the mess they've created.
It is a lot different. And one of the problems in Washington right now that people are very frustrated about, gridlock. So are you a purist? Do you compromise on these, or would you go to Washington and President Paul would be my way or the highway?
See, I don't compromise, but I work with coalitions, which is a big difference. So some of my closest allies in Washington are progressives, you know, because they like a different approach to foreign policy. They might think we ought to protect habeas corpus and not have secret prisons and torture. So I work with them, but then I work real close with conservatives who like to believe in the free market. But yeah, there are certain things. Life is precious, so I think that the Declaration of Independence was a rather purist document. You know, inalienable rights. You have a right to your life and your liberty. I just go one step further. You should have the right to keep the fruits of your labor too.
Another question from our online colleagues. This was also from Yahoo. Let me phrase it this way. Polls show that a majority of Americans, a substantial majority of Americans, believe that taxes on the wealthy should be increased. Why do you in the Republican Party side with the millionaires and against the will of the people?
Well, I try to sort all that out because I'm pretty critical of the wealth of a lot of millionaires and billionaires, because they ripped us off. They got you know, they got the benefits, they got the bailout, they enjoyed the benefits of the bubble. They get contracts from government. They're part of the military-industrial complex. The banking system is in bed with the government, so they don't deserve this money. They not only should be taxed, but they should have all their benefits removed. But if you're productive and you're producing jobs and you're rich, because the consumer voted for your product and made you rich because you made an honest living, gave them a good product at the right price, they shouldn't be punished. If we don't sort the two out, it's going to be very destructive. So yes, some of that is true, but we better be a little bit wise on exactly who gets the punishment here.
On foreign policy, as you said, you're different from most Republicans. Bring the troops home, you say, and not just from Iraq and Afghanistan, but from other countries in the Middle East, Asia, Europe. If an American ally were under attack, Israel from Iran, South Korea from North Korea, Taiwan from China, would President Ron Paul honor our treaty obligations and defend our allies from that aggression by sending troops if necessary?
Treaties cannot amend our Constitution. So because 2 generations ago somebody signed a piece of paper and said no matter what happens to Taiwan or South Korea
or Israel,
no matter what happens, that you can commit the next generation to automatic war. That's immoral and it's not constitutional. But let's say it is a serious problem. Somebody posed, you know, what if a foreign country closed down the Panama Canal, and, you know, what would you do? Well, I would look at it very carefully, study it, find out how serious it is, and if it looks like it's a threat to our national security, I would go to the U.S. Congress, which is to the people, and say, this is very serious, and we need to make a collective decision on whether this is a threat to our national security, and if it is, you declare war and you win it and you get it over with. But I would not go to war on my own issue. I would never go to the NATO or the United Nations and take my marching orders from an international body. That is wrong, and that's why we've been fighting perpetual wars. That's why we've been in Afghanistan for 10 years, and that's also the reason we've never declared a war since World War II, and we haven't won a war either since that time, and it has led to our bankruptcy.
All right, we're almost out of time here with Yahoo, but we're reaching a different audience. We want to have some fun. This is a lightning round. I'll just pop off some questions, quick answers. Worst job you ever had?
The worst job? I've always enjoyed my jobs, but you know, I'd have to think about it. I don't have any worst jobs. I've always enjoyed every job I've done.
TV guilty pleasure. Is there something you watch on TV that's a guilty pleasure, you think?
No, I only watch news broadcasts from ABC.
That's it. Favorite junk food?
Favorite junk food? Oh, well, I've kidded about that. I don't think it's junk food because it tastes so good. I am very soft on liking chocolate chip cookies.
Right on. BlackBerry or iPhone? What do you prefer?
Well, I use neither. I use the iPod right now. iPad is what I carry and use. And then I have a small little cell phone.
Happiest you've ever been other than your wedding day or the birth of your children? Happiest day?
Let's see. There's excitement and happiness is pretty well separate. You know, if you separate it from these personal things, you know, like family, I think it was the independence I got after college, medical school, residency, military, and I came in and opened up my medical practice here, and I was responsible to taking care of my patients. And to me, it was very nice to know that I had been trained, I worked a long time, and I was finally ready to assume that responsibility and make a living for myself.
Last one, theme song.
Theme song.
Do you have a theme song?
Born Free. And I've said that across the top of my head, but it is a pretty good song. I like that.